A lot of the people are like, yeah, I'm going to do this. My face is going to be built. A lot of people talked about a lot of these things, and he's just done them. And he's done them bigger. And he hasn't talked much about it until it was done.
Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to episode 36 of the Accolades conversation series, in which I talk to some of my favorite artists about who or what they would recommend me checking out. Make sure to subscribe or hit that like button. As a founding member and producer of Orlando-based hip-hop group Solillaquists of Sound and electro soul duo Chakra Khan, DiViNCi first gained notoriety by using multiple drum machines in ways the world had never seen before. His frenetic finger drumming and innovative use of music technology have led to stage and studio collaborations with such artists as Ms. Lauryn Hill, Nas, Victor Wooten, MF Doom, Dog Wimbish, and LP from Run the Jewels. I spoke to DiViNCi about producer IMAKEMADBEATS, a Memphis native, having grown up and immersed in the city's unmistakable sonic identity. But despite the definitive identity of the region, he often felt disconnected from what creative paths were supported there. After leaving his home to find infrastructure and creative synergy, he would eventually end up in Manhattan's legendary Quad Studios, where he became a go-to ghost producer and found a new niche in scoring for film and television. He went on to provide music to many companies, including NBC, ABC, HBO, DC Shoes, Oxygen, and many more. Check out what DiViNCi had to say about IMAKEMADBEATS.
It's such a tough question for me because I feel so indebted to so many people and how they've actively inspired me, like shaped me. Obviously, there's my family, my parents, then my musical family, who I lived with for the greater portion of 20 years. And some of them I still live with, which is the Solillaquists of Sound. So Swam, Alexandra, and my wife, Tanya. I can't say enough about how much I admired not just them, but like what we did for each other. I've answered this kind of question before, and they're like the first people to come up. But if I had to choose one, it would be too hard to choose just one of them. So I decided to choose somebody that was a bit further from me, but someone still I consider very close. So the guy I chose, his name's IMAKEMADBEATS. I know him as Nemo. We met here in Orlando when he used to live here. He's a fellow producer and an engineer. He moved away almost 20 years ago now to work at Quad Studios in New York as an intern. And then eventually, I think he got a position there. But then he moved back to his hometown of Memphis. And since moving back to Memphis, has created a whole movement and embedded the culture and community there, both himself as well as with the collective he started called Unapologetic. And it's just like one thing after another. This guy makes news. You know, he's like constantly being put in magazines, constantly. His face is on, well, he covers his face with a mask, but his image is on billboards around Memphis. You can hear his voice and his crew's voice when you land in Memphis airport over the speakers. One of the most notable things he's done recently is partnered with this group called Tone, I think it's called. They actually purchased, not just rented or whatever, like paid for a historical site in his hometown of Orange Mound, which is historically, I think, the very first Black-owned community in the United States in Memphis, called Orange Mound Towner, and they're currently converting it into a place for Black-owned businesses and housing for like 200 people or something like that. And he's like building a studio now and everything like that. He's done stuff for like youth programs and things like that. He's done TED Talks. And coming up in hip hop, coming up in the circles I did, a lot of the people are like, yeah, I'm going to do this. My face is going to be built. But a lot of people talked about a lot of these things, and he's just done them. And he's done them bigger. And he hasn't talked much about it until it was done. Like he reserved all that energy for just not just making the moves to make it happen, but doing so in a way that's sustainable and beneficial, not just for him and his collective, but everyone else. And like I said, I've been able to, observe the movie of his accomplishments from a distance over here in Orlando. I call it a movie, but at the same time, I've only ever seen somebody with this level of consistency and execution in movies, beyond, of course, the people that I've spoke about who are close to me. And the funny thing about it, he didn't set out to do any of these things. He just, like his name, wants to make mad beats. Like that's all he wants to do. If he had his choice, he would just spend time with his family and just just make music. But he realized in order to do that in the way that he wanted to do it, he had to build a world. That world isn't the world we live in.
I want to thank my guest, DiViNCi, for his time. And on to episode 37, where I'm talking to Logi about Jill Scott Heron. If you want a full experience of these interviews, go check out the video series on our YouTube channel, Crate Records. Make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. Thanks for listening.